Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Monday, May 20th West Fargo City Commission meeting. To begin our evening, we're going to call on the West Fargo PD Honor Guard for the purpose of a swearing in of 4 new officers.
And get everybody to stand, please. Honor Guard, post colors. Honor Guard, forward. All uniformed personnel, present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms.
At this time, I'll call on Chief of Police Pete Nielsen for the purpose of the swearing in of our new officers.
Good evening, Commission President Dardis and fellow commissioners. First of all, I want to welcome and thank the family and friends of the officers sitting behind me, and to the promotion of James Ellefson. I'd first like to bring James Ellefson to the podium. Tonight, James Ellefson is officially being sworn in as a sergeant with our police department. Come on up, James, for a second. I'd like to tell you a little bit about James. James received his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Minnesota State University in 2010. He completed a 10-week police skills program through Alex Tech prior to being hired by the West Fargo Police Department as a patrol officer in 2018. He was a deputy sheriff in Adams County for 1.5 years, and then Morton County for 5 years, in which 2.5 years he was a canine handler. Since 2020, Ellefson has been assigned to the Criminal Investigations Unit, investigating personnel crimes. He's also a pilot for the Red River Valley Drone Team, and previously he served on the Criminal Interdiction Team as a Menards liaison officer. When not working, he enjoys golfing, which he's not very good at, bowling, lake activities, and spending time with his family and friends. At this time, I'd like to swear in James Ellefson as a sergeant with our police department. It's kind of ironic because I think I was one of the first people who contacted James when he was in Morton County, because he was a canine handler, and at that time he thought he was one of the best canine handlers, but he was not, because I had canine disco at the time, so he was second at best. So I'd like to swear him in as a police sergeant right now. I state your name.
I, James Ellefson,
Have been duly appointed a police officer for the city of West Fargo.
a police officer for the city of West Fargo.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution
that I will uphold the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of North Dakota.
and the state of North Dakota.
I will faithfully and impartially,
I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my knowledge and abilities,
to the best of my knowledge and abilities,
perform the duties
perform the duties
of said office
of said office
according to law.
according to law.
I will constantly strive to achieve
I will constantly strive to achieve
those objectives
those objectives
and ideals stated,
and ideals stated,
dedicating myself
dedicating myself
to my chosen profession,
to my chosen profession,
law enforcement.
law enforcement.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. At this time, I'd like to have James bring up somebody to pin his badge on. And then James would like to say a few words to the commission. Couple words to the commission?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
We can
Sure, go for it.
We can start with golf. About 2 weeks ago, we had the PD golf tournament, and I don't know which team won, but it was not part of the Chiefs team. So we'll just start there. So
Cheated.
yeah. So I'll keep it short. Obviously, I've been employed with West Fargo since 2018. It's been a roller coaster, and I've loved every minute of it. It's nice to have you guys supporting the PD. I'll kind of speak on behalf of the police department. We see it. We see the love and the support that you guys provide to us, and it shows. So it makes things a lot easier for us when we're working, knowing that the commission has our support. So we appreciate that and see it. So, and then obviously it extends to the city of West Fargo. I've worked for multiple different agencies. The city of West Fargo is unbelievable. So it's nice to see that with you guys, and then obviously the city, having our backs at all times. So it makes our job a lot easier. So, and then quickly, obviously, thank you to my family on the back row there. It's been a roller coaster, like I said, and understanding the change from the investigations unit back to patrol, and understanding that my schedule is going to be a little bit different from now on, but I appreciate all the love and support. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Sergeant.
So thank you.
All right, next I have 3 officers. If you'd like to come up to the front for me, please. The 3 officers I'll do there is a little bit different. I'll read their bios real quick. First is Officer Hunter Hicks. Hunter Hicks is from Dilworth, Minnesota. He graduated from Dilworth Glendon Felton in high school back in 2014. He joined the Army right after high school, attending basic training at Fort Moore, Georgia, formerly known as Fort Benning, as an indirect fire infantryman. From there, he was stationed in Fort Hood, Texas, famously known as Custer's. While with the 1-7, he did a 9-month rotation on the Korean Peninsula. Hicks got out of the Army in 2017 and joined the Minnesota Army National Guard. He went on to Bemidji State University, where he pursued his bachelor's in political science with a minor in international relations. When COVID-19 happened, from college, Hicks went to working at the Beltrami County Jail located in Bemidji, where he worked from February of 21 until 2023. During that time, he was deployed to Kuwait in support of Operation Spartan Shield with the Minnesota National Guard. He then went on to Lake Region State College, Peace Officer Academy in May of 23, and was hired by the West Fargo Police Department in November of 2023. In his spare time, he tries to be outdoors as much as possible. First is Officer Hunter Hicks. Hunter, would you like to come up real quick and give the commission?
Just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to work here, and thank you for your continued support. That's all I got.
That's good enough, Hunter. Next is Officer Chesney Braun. Chesney was born in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, but moved to West Fargo around the 3rd grade. She goes to Grand Rapids. Her dad still lives in Grand Rapids, and she goes there often to visit. She graduated from West Fargo High School in 2019 and then attended the University of North Dakota, graduated in 2023 with a double major in criminal justice and sociology. In the spring of 2023, Braun attended the Lake Region State College Peace Officers Training Academy hosted here by the West Fargo Police Department. Prior to being hired by the police department, Braun spent 2 years as a dog groomer, and in her free time, Braun can be found riding her two horses, Indy and Shadow, or spending time with her dog, Ollie, and her cat, Ghost. Braun also hopes to continue dog grooming as a hobby. Officer Chesney Braun, please come up for a quick second.
Just want to say thank you you guys for the opportunity. I'm really looking forward to my career here. I appreciate you guys' support.
Welcome.
Thank you. Next is Officer Bailey Tulius. Bailey was born in Glen Falls, New York, but raised in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Graduated in 2017 from Detroit Lakes High School. Tulius attended Alexandria Tech College, graduated in 2019 with his associate's degree in law enforcement and obtaining his Minnesota Post license. He went on to attend the Law Enforcement Training Academy in Bismarck, where he obtained his North Dakota Post license. Prior to be hired by the West Fargo Police Department in February of 24, Tulius started his law enforcement career as a patrol officer in Dickinson Police Department. While employed by Dickinson Police Department, Tulius became an instructor for firearms, less lethal, and building search tactics. In 2021, he became a member of the Southwest SWAT team and remained an active member until his departure from Dickinson. When Tulius is not working, he enjoys hunting, camping, golfing, traveling, and spending days at the lake. But when it's not fun to be outside, he likes to play hockey. So Officer Bailey Tulius, please come up.
Just thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for Chief Nielsen for taking me on and for the opportunity to do it. Thanks to my family for supporting me, and yeah, excited.
Thank you. All right, I will now swear in the 3 new officers for our department who have recently graduated the field training program. I state your name.
I, Hicks,
Having been duly appointed
have been duly appointed
a police officer for the city of West Fargo,
police officer for the city of West Fargo.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution
that I will uphold the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of North Dakota.
and the state of North Dakota.
I will faithfully and impartially,
I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my knowledge and abilities,
to the best of my knowledge and abilities,
perform the duties of said office
perform the duties of said office
according to law.
according to law.
That I will constantly strive to achieve
That I will constantly strive to achieve
those objectives and ideals stated,
those objectives and ideals stated,
dedicating myself to my chosen profession,
dedicating myself to my chosen profession,
law enforcement.
law enforcement.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. First off, Hunter, would you like to have somebody come up and pin your badge? Yeah. We're excited. Just a little known fact, this is Jason Hicks. Jason Hicks was a police officer here at West Fargo for many years and then transferred over to Clay County, Minnesota. So we did hire his son after he left, which has been a great addition. Next, Officer Chesney Braun, would you like to have somebody come up and pin your badge? She has chosen Officer Matt Oldham, who is a member of the West Fargo Police Department, to pin her badge. And he will not do that, I guarantee you. Officer Bailey Tulius, would you like to have somebody come pin your badge? And who is this?
Grandfather.
This is his grandfather.
I met Officer Tulius's grandfather out in the hallway. This gentleman served for 33 years in the Minnesota Highway Patrol. He's a retired police officer, so we thank him for his service as well.
All right, thank you to the commission for allowing us the opportunity to bring forward the promotion and the officers to be sworn in front of you. I know this is an event that we like to continue, and it's important to us and the family here to be able to come before you to show you our newest additions and our promotions. And again, thank you for your support. I think at this time I'd like to welcome the family who's in attendance and all the staff members to the training room. There's going to be some cookies and cake and some visiting that happens over there. And prior to that, I think we'll have one picture with the commission, and we will move to the training room. So again, thank you.
This side. All right, everyone look over here. Perfect, thank you.
Before we go any further, I'd ask that everybody please silence their cell phones, with the exception of our first responders. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner George? Here. Commissioner Simmons?
Here.
Commissioner Jarvis?
Here.
Commissioner Olson?
Here.
Commissioner Anderson?
Next order of business is to approve the order of the agenda. It has been presented, and it is in your packets.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Anderson seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the order of the agenda as distributed. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next order of business is to approve the minutes of May 6, 2024. Again, it is in your packet and has been distributed.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Commissioner George seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of May 6, 2024 as distributed. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item G is the building permits. Again, it is in your packet and has been distributed.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner George. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Commissioner Anderson seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the building permits as distributed. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next order is the consent agenda. We have items A through D.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Simmons seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda, items A through D as distributed. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Next order of business is a public comment. At this time, we will move out of the regular agenda and move into public comment. At this time, I have one person that has been signed up, and I'd ask Mr. David Liedall to please come forward to the podium, please. State your name and address, and then share with us what you'd like.
Hi, thank you so much. My name is David Liedall. I reside at 2414 McLeod Drive East. That's within the Rivers Bend neighborhood in West Fargo. Any other identifying information needed? Okay, great, thank you. I just wanted to speak to the conditional use permit that was requested for the property between Duluth Trading Company and Vance Thompson Vision. I'm not sure if I know a specific identifier for that conditional use permit for auto sales. Do I need to provide one or no one? Okay, thank you. I was at I believe the planning meeting where there was a number of items presented by the owners of Gateway Nissan Hyundai who want to build a car dealership, I believe, on that space. And my concerns are there's a few, but I wanted to highlight just a couple. Actually, I wanted to highlight maybe more than a couple, but I think they're pretty quick. I just was concerned that their claims were largely unsubstantiated related to the acceptability or the receivability of building that type of business on that property. They stated that they didn't believe that there would be any more traffic in the Rivers Bend neighborhood. And I didn't feel that was substantiated or backed up by any data. They made a claim that they have set test drive routes, but I've driven a vehicle on a number of occasions and never been told that I couldn't drive through a neighborhood that was close by. They made it seem like it would just go right out by Costco and on the interstate and we wouldn't see vehicles. And I just felt like that was presented to the city planners without really much information to validate that. They also tried to make it seem like the hours of operation would be very limited and not affect busy times for kids being out and about. Of course, Freedom Elementary sits, I believe, within 2 city blocks of that property. And I think it's concerning to have activity related to test drives going on when pretty much 100 students or more are walking right around that area. And I think the traffic concerns are valid that were presented. They claimed that the dealership was going to be a noise buffer to the interstate, and I just felt like that would need to be backed up by some kind of noise study. And I think the biggest concern that I've appreciated is once one car dealership goes up in that area, there's a high likelihood that that would set a precedent where the other 2 lots that Gateway Hyundai Nissan also bought would also be sold to car dealers to put more car dealerships and turn it into an auto mall. And I think, obviously, with precedent being a strong thing, I don't think that the commission could have a lot of basis to deny future conditional use permits around this property after, we've approved one. And so I think it's a slippery slope and would turn what is really more of a business park feel of the city into more of an auto mall. And I just don't think that's wise considering the nice quiet neighborhoods and the very low footprint businesses that are already in that area, outside of Costco, which I know is an outlier and is so close to the main road that it really doesn't pose a lot of traffic concerns in the neighborhoods to the west of there. And then they made it seem like that home values would not be affected. And once again, I'm not saying we go by whatever we find on Google, but again, they didn't present any data that would suggest that home values would not be affected by an auto mall next to a Rivers Bend neighborhood or North Pond. And so I was just concerned that with the PowerPoint presentation that the Gateway Nissan Hyundai people presented, there's a number of things that were said, like it's no big deal because of this, it's no big deal because of that. And it just was claims that were made without any data. And I just would appreciate the commission's regard for the people who are in the residential areas around there, just that if we do approve it, which I wouldn't agree with, but if we do approve it, just that they're held accountable to some of these claims. And I just appreciate the time to present these concerns to you today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Lido.
Thank you.
There were additional people signed up, but decided at the last minute that they would not speak. Excuse me, there is someone else there. I did. Okay, please come forward. My apologies.
No, that's all right. My name's Tim Green. I've been a resident of West Fargo for 54 of my 61 years. The first house I lived on was 2nd Street, about 900 block, and at the time there was absolutely nothing to the east. So obviously West Fargo has significantly grown, which is a great thing. And an auto dealership might be a great thing to help continue growth, but I don't believe in this location it is. And I wasn't around last week to attend the meeting, but I tried to watch it online today. And so one of the statements was that they're excited to be part of West Fargo. I'm not so sure they would be as excited to be in West Fargo if it wasn't that location. So I know you have read or will read all the comments, and I agree with everybody's comments. The things that your planning staff today got me those other comments, which was nice, so I could read those. And it occurred to me that two things mainly. The presenter mentioned they had 75 customers a day. Well, one of the comments talked about, how many people drive by, how many people go through. So 75 is not really an accurate number for the traffic that'll be driven to that area. The other thing, probably the most important that I read, and it occurred to me, something I didn't think of, but when you jump in a car you're not familiar with and you need to mess around with knobs and buttons, it's kind of confusing. It can be. I don't know how many people have gotten a rental car and it starts to rain and you don't know how to turn the lights on or turn on the windshield washers. So I do think that is probably the biggest concern out of all of them. But additionally, the traffic is going to be routed, maybe not all the way to Rivers Bend, but definitely past the schools, because that stoplight going up right now today is going to push people to the west, because people get frustrated. Consider human nature. They don't want to sit there that long, so they're going to go to the west to get around that traffic. And that stoplight's a great thing, but it's going to make that time to get through that area even more. So I just don't think this is the right idea. And so I ask you to consider the unintended consequences of things we're not already thinking of. So thank you for your time.
Good evening, and thank you, Mr. Green. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Please come forward.
Yep.
Please state your name and address.
I'm Leighton Mole. I'm also a resident in the same neighborhood. I had signed up through the website on Friday.
You're fine.
But, I just had written my thoughts here. I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak in this forum. I'm here to express some concerns related to the proposed car dealership that you're aware of at this point. I'm speaking as a West Fargo resident and also a resident of the Rivers Bend neighborhood. I don't have any financial or employment or family relationships to the dealership in any way. There's been multiple concerns by our neighbors brought forward that you'll see through emails or packets or further meetings as well. And I agree with most of those. Those are related to test drives, noise, light pollution, danger to the children. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about some practical aspects. So nowhere else in our metro area is there a new car dealership in this close proximity to single family housing. The current proposal for use of the large parcel includes a multi-brand dealership occupying the northern half of the parcel, which is immediately adjacent to Interstate. That area of the parcel is around 700 feet from the nearest homes, which is actually Mr. Green's home and mine. We live on the very perimeter of that neighborhood. A major concern of ours, though, is potential for further expansion into the southern half of that parcel as it's being sold as a single unit. The current conditional use permit limits cars to the northern half, but as has brought, as Mr. Liedall had said, further expansion is still open. We confirmed this at the planning meeting as well through the city attorney that there wouldn't be any sort of way to permanently block auto sales from that southern half of the lot. Excuse me. So the southern border of the parcel lies then less than 100 feet from the nearest properties, which is much too close for a car dealership, in our opinion, to be so close to single-family homes. Local real estate agents have predicted decreased personal property values associated with our proximity to this dealership. I also don't think a dealership in this location fits the mood or aesthetic of the area. We currently have medical facilities and retail establishments in that area. The medical facilities operate Monday through Friday during normal business hours. And then, as you know, there's Duluth Trading Company and Costco there. But people visiting those businesses go there, they buy their materials and they leave. They don't test out their products in our neighborhood. Their products aren't brightly lit all night long. The products don't make noise. People don't browse those businesses after hours as well. So I think that allowing an automobile dealership to occupy such a large place there is a missed opportunity for us. I think that there's better room for growth and development. Moving a business 4 miles to the west doesn't create jobs for West Fargo. And this is not a new business coming in. This is just moving a business 4 miles over. Rather, I think if we brought in new businesses to that area, we could have a little pocket there that's rich in diversity. We could have a bunch of new businesses and have actual shops or restaurants or places that we all can visit and engage in and support our own economy. I think that would just be a better use of that land. So I think that putting an automobile dealership there would be an overall net negative for us, and I would urge you to reconsider the zoning commission's decision on that. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that was signed up that would like to speak? Seeing none, the public comment is closed. We move on to item number 2 on the regular agenda, A24-7 zoning ordinance amendment to Title 4 regarding nonconformities. The purpose of this discussion is to approve the second reading of the ordinance. We call on Aaron Nelson, Planning Director for the City of West Fargo. Mr. Nelson. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you and good evening. So item 2 is the second reading of a proposed zoning ordinance amendment. This zoning ordinance amendment was presented to you at your last City Commission meeting for a public hearing. There have been no changes to the proposed ordinance, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Again, this ordinance amendment is regarding non-conforming land uses within the zoning code. So, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Commissioners, any questions? All right.
Move to approve second reading.
Commissioner Olson moves to approve the second reading of A24-7 zoning ordinance amendment. Is there a second? Commissioner Simmons seconds. We now have a motion and a second regarding A24-7 zoning ordinance amendment to Title 4 regarding nonconformities to approve the second reading. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Item number 3 is the approval of purchase of an air burner. We call on Mr. Matt Anvik, Public Works Director. Good evening, Mr. Anvik, and welcome.
Good evening, President and Commissioners. Tonight, looking at approval for purchasing an air curtain incinerator or an air burner. As part of their sanitation program, we collect brush, branches. A lot of times we'll have clean wood that goes out to an inert landfill. In the past, we've had a tub grinder that'll grind all those trees up and shred, you get that little shredded wood out there that we've used. Last August, we had an equipment fire that was a total loss of that tub grinder. And to replace that tub grinder is about $900,000. So we kind of looked at different, ways that we can, or different ideas to purchase instead of coming back with a tub grinder. And one of these was an air curtain incinerator, which is used in different municipalities around the state. The city of Fargo has one. And what they're just kind of a large box that has air over the top of it to help the burning. And if you have clean, like pallets, debris, wood, you're able to burn that. And that is what we're looking at purchasing. Not only as maybe when that emerald ash borer shows up, we might have some more ash trees that fall victim to that emerald ash borer in the next few years, or if we have a natural disaster like a tornado or ice storms or something where we're going to get a lot more brush. This way we can actually burn that wood, and that'll reduce that volume of the debris up by about 90%. It's a lot easier to manage the space at the landfill. This will be housed at our inert landfill. It operate, I think it's about $500 an hour to operate one of those tub grinders, whereas one of these units, it's a lot less expensive for that. And we did get an insurance payout for the damaged tub grinder, and that amount was about $282,532. And that's what we're proposing to use for the purchase of this air curtain incinerator. And with those costs, it would be the crane to unload it, and we'd also like to purchase a grapple bucket for a payloader that'll be able to grab the pallets, and tree's a lot easier to put inside the air burner itself. And this will require, testing each year that we'll have in the sanitation budget for about $6,000. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
My first question is, you're testing $6,000 per year. Is that the North Dakota Health Department? Who's doing the testing?
We received 2 bids on that. One was Stantec, and I gapped out the other testing firm. It's another engineering firm that handles that testing, and that's required for the air quality permit.
But that's it's not the North Dakota Department of Health then? You have to have an independent person that's going to?
Yeah, it's an independent person. They recommend that we have an independent person test that, but that's required for the Department of Environmental Quality.
So then we have to provide those results. Are there other air burners in the area that, and what kind of issues do they have with regarding to passing this testing and all that? Do you have any knowledge of that, Mr. Anvik?
Fargo has one, and to my knowledge, they haven't had any issues. There's, I think Logan said, about 10 others.
So we're not introducing something to the region that's not been done before? Okay,
no,
very good.
It's quite a few of them. That's kind of where we got the idea to get it. I think we were talking to Dickinson, I believe, about how they handle theirs.
Commissioners, any questions? Mr. Anvik? Commissioner Olson?
In here, you say that it could generate revenue. How would we generate revenue by doing this?
One is we'll get a lot of pallets from different businesses around town. And currently, we charge them to haul it over to Fargo. We pay the tipping fee over in Fargo to dump it over there, which they use their air burner to burn. If we had that, we would not need to bring it to Fargo. We just bring it to ours, which would save that, or that tipping fee then would be revenue for us. We'd also be able to advertise, to the general public that has, excess clean wood or pallets or anything like that to come in, and we'd be able to take that by volume and burn that as well.
Commissioner Olson?
Follow-up question. You say clean wood. Who's going to determine what wood is clean, which is dirty, can we burn?
That'd be something that we'd probably have to make sure that they came into the transfer station, weighed in first. We'd inspect it, then send it out there. So it'd be tree branches, any kind of clean construction wood that's not treated with anything. Okay. Clean pallets that don't have any diesel fuel spills or anything like that.
No railroad ties or...
no railroad ties. Okay. Any kind of treated wood we can't burn, underneath the permit.
Okay.
So the additional revenues that are required in order to, for this project, where's those dollars coming from? Do you have that in your budget?
Yes.
Commissioners, any other questions? What's your pleasure, Commissioners?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner George. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Anderson seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of the air burner as presented by Mr. Anvik from Public Works. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Anvik.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is the project number 6061, 2024 ADA ramp reconstruction. We're going to call on Mr. Dan Hansen, city engineer for the city of West Fargo. And purpose of the discussion is to reject all bids. Mr. Hansen.
Thank you, Commissioner, President Dardis, and Commissioners. I was thinking everybody that had showed up was actually to watch me suggest that we don't spend money for once, but anyways, we have brought forth this project. It's a 2024 ADA ramp replacement project. This is a project where we're going to replace non-conforming ADA ramps throughout the community. We did open bids for that, and we only received one bid from Op Construction in the amount of $466,192.45. That bid was 27% over our final design engineer's estimate of $367,026. Looking at the bids, I felt that we can do better as far as getting a price, and one of the things was that this just was not a competitive bid. There was only the one bid that we received. If we had received 3 bids and this was the low, I might be speaking a different tune here, but I think we would want to get more than just the one bid. What I'd like to do is incorporate this work into our annual concrete patch projects that we're already patching roadways throughout the area. To get this work incorporated into those projects is going to encourage more contractors that are bidding on that project that are also doing this type of work to jump in and be able to do this. And I just think that it's an important project, but at a price. So with that, I would recommend that the commission would reject all bids, and the intent again is to put this work into our annual pavement repair projects so that we can receive more competitive bids in the future with this work.
Thank you, Mr. Hansen. Any questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Molson.
Dan, we've already got that concrete patching already in place. So for this year, we wouldn't do any of the ADAs. We would just schedule this for next year?
This work would be incorporated into next year's. There are a couple of ADA ramps that I've talked with Public Works that we feel should be replaced this year, but the amount that we were doing was more than the workload that Public Works would be able to do. We're looking at doing 2 or possibly 4, which is able to be done by our Public Works staff to get those done in the areas that they're going to be milling and overlaying. So that way we don't mill and overlay that project this year and come back with an ADA ramp replacement next year that goes out into the new surface. So they're going to work to do those ramps, but the rest of them would be reincorporated into that work for next year.
Thank you.
Additional questions?
I'll make a motion to reject all bids.
Commissioner Simmons moves to reject all bids. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Commissioner Olson seconds. Been moved and seconded to reject all bids for project number 6061, the 2024 ADA ramp construction. Reject the bid of Construction of $466,192.45. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hansen. Moving on to item number 5 is the first reading of the electric franchise fee for Cass County Electric Cooperative. We call on City Attorney John Shockley. Mr. Shockley, good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Commission President. Tonight is a housekeeping item. Pursuant to the budget passed last year, the franchise fees for electric service were increased to 4%. A month ago, the city formally notified Cass County Electric Cooperative that the fee increase was being considered. This is the first reading of the ordinance to affect that. You'll note in the packet that the only change in the ordinance is changing 2% to 4%. happy
Thank
to
you.
answer any questions, but it's very straightforward.
Thank you, Mr. Shockley. Questions from the commission? An actionable item, Commissioners.
Make a motion to put it on first reading for the electric franchise fee.
Commissioner Simmons moves to approve the first reading of the electric franchise fee for Cass County Electric Cooperative. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner George seconds. Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Commissioners. Item number 6 is the first reading of the electric franchise fee for Xcel Energy. Again, we call on Mr. Shockley, City Attorney, City of West Fargo. Mr. Shockley.
Thank you, Mr. Commission President. This is the same identical item as for Cass County Electric Cooperative. However, since XL also has a franchise, the commission needs to amend the ordinance with their franchise. So the only change in that ordinance is changing from 2% to 4%.
Thank you, Mr. Any questions for Mr. Shockley? Again, an actionable item, Commissioner.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner George. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Simmons seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the first reading of the electric franchise fee for Xcel Energy as presented by Mr. Shockley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next order of business is item number 7. We call on City Administrator's report. Mr. Dustin Scott, City Administrator. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you, Commission President Dartis and Commissioners. Well, the theme of tonight's meeting is a relatively brief meeting, so I'll keep it brief and stand here for any questions. I really have no new information to share with you at this time, so any questions I can answer.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Commissioners? Any correspondence you'd like to read? All right, very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There was one included in the packet.
The last page is from West Fargo Events, right?
That's just the page, just telling everybody when the events are.
Right, yep, that's just a,
Calendar of events for West Fargo events. Okay.
Yep, and just to clarify, that is pursuant to the agreements that we have, that they provide an annual notice, so.
Yeah, very good. Commissioners, do you have any non-agenda items you'd like to bring forward at this time? I have one item I'd like to share with you. This Thursday, May 23rd, at 5:30 at the POW-MIA Plaza, there will be an unveiling of a number of additional military statues. Commissioner Simmons has worked very hard on this, and I'm proud to say that there are no tax dollars being spent. This is by people volunteering to pay for these, so the other military branches will now have a statue that will stand proud next to the Vietnam statue that we dedicated a year ago. Our guest speaker will be the Major General, Adjutant General Alan Dorman from the North Dakota National Guard. We will have 2 retired generals that will also be in attendance, and I have invited the entire 119th Fighter Wing up here, Colonel Dimitrovich, the commander. We've invited them all to come to this event. It's really going to be a great tribute to the men and women that have served our country and our community and our state, and I would invite all of you to please attend. It's going to be a great event. Any other thing? Commissioner Simmons, you have something else?
Thank you. Yeah, and the VFW Color Guard will be there to perform, and also after the event, there'll be a little gathering for appetizers inside the VFW. So we encourage everyone to show up. I think it's going to be an amazing time.
Anything else, Commissioners, that you have? There is one other item that I think should be brought forth to the public is West Fargo is part of Fargo, Cass County, Clay County, Moorhead, and a dispatch center. We opened bids last week for the dispatch center, of which obviously West Fargo PD, West Fargo Fire, Sanford Ambulance, and all are a part of that. So there will be additional information coming forward. We received the bids. The bids were $15,711.45. So, Mr. Scott and I have been in those meetings. We have been participating. Cass County is a very big contributor. They're contributing the 50 cents that's collected from Cass County residents for 911 to the tune of $10 million to, put forward to the 17 million. Clay County and Moorhead are also contributing. One is contributing $1 million, the other is contributing $1.5 million, and the city of West Fargo and the city of Fargo stands for the rest. So that's to be negotiated as to what our participation will be, and it will either be based on our call volumes, which is a percentage of what we have, and we've had our first preliminary meeting with the city of Fargo and Cass County with regard to what that numbers are. And when we have further information, we will share that with you. That will be an item that will fall under our sales tax with regard to fire and police. That installment will be handled by those tax funds. There will be no taxpayer dollars other than the sales tax collected for our public safety sales tax. Commissioners, do you have any questions on that? Commissioner
No,
Olson?
I don't have a question on that, sorry.
Okay.
Just a comment on
Something else, please?
something else.
Please continue. Go ahead.
By the time we meet in June, some of our city hall functions will be moved to the new city hall, is that correct?
June 3rd.
We are going to start moving June 3rd. There may be a couple staff that will go over the week before, but the bulk of the move will start June 3rd. So you're right. We will have a few people there, yep.
How long do you think it'll take to move everybody?
We're planning 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yep.
Okay.
There will be notices to the public to tour the facilities and all of those types of things. And we will have a cost accounting as to what the estimate was and where we're at. As you'll recall, we did have another discussion regarding the technology for the commission chambers. This technology is extremely dated, which many of you have witnessed that we struggle with sometimes. And so, that's in process also. So. But there will be notifications going out as to when the public will be invited in to tour the new facility.
And we have been sending out social media information, and we've got signs posted out here informing the public that come in. So we have been working on communicating with the public on that move. One last thing, too, just
Please.
a reminder that this coming Monday will be Memorial Day, so our city offices will be closed.
Thank you. Again, I'd encourage you to join us on May 23rd at the POW MIA Plaza. We expect a very large crowd, knock on wood, if the weather holds, but we're in a pretty wet cycle right now. But it's going to be a great event. Any other non-agenda items, Commissioners? Does any of our directors or staff members have any non-agenda items you'd like to bring forward at this time? Commissioner Simmons.
Move to adjourn.
Commissioner Olson.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you.